and welcome to I's eDesign Codemakers Tutorials. This is a tutorial for Tynker, and this is tutorial number 2. I'm just going to do a brief overview of how this block coding works. A lot of you might have already seen this if you've already used Scratch or any of the other coding programs. So this is called block coding, and it's an easy way, a visual way to understand coding without having to type out the actual code. But if you are curious as to how it works with the actual code, you can always click on the code view here, and it shows you the actual coding that they use to make this work. The block view is just a simplified way to help you understand the logic a little bit more. So what this code right here is telling us is what's going to happen when you click play for this object. So it's telling us that on start, so when we hit play, it's setting rotation style left to right. That means that it can only move, our guy can only move in 2 directions. It can only go left or right. It can't turn and face up, or it can't flip around and be upside down or anything like that. This next section is called a loop, and it says forever. That means it's a forever loop, which means it will continue to go on and on and on until you hit stop. So the animate means that our guy here, just his name right now is actor. You can change that name if you want. If you just click on it, call him Bob. But for this animate, because we're in the code for Bob right now, the animate just means that Bob is going to walk. This move is how far he's going to move each time it loops. And this on edge, your if on edge bounce means if he gets to the end, he's just going to stop and turn around and go the other way. Wait 5 seconds is how long it waits before it starts to loop over and does it again and again and again. So if I hit play, Bob is just going to walk and walk and walk and then bump into the wall and turn around and walk back, and he'll just keep going back and forth against the walls until you hit stop. So just to give you an idea of how to modify some of these things, so let's say we don't want him to walk, let's say we want him to run. So if I just hit run like this, he'd still be moving at the same speed. He'd just have a different animation that makes it look like he's running. So if I hit run now, it looks like he's moving faster, but he's not actually moving any faster. So we can also change how far he moves. Let's say we want him to go, instead of 10 steps at a time, we want him to go 25 steps at a time. So if I hit it again, he's going to go a lot faster now. So he runs around. How about instead we want him to do something different, like bite. So he's not going to move as much if he bites. Say he moves a little bit each time, but let's just say he goes about 5 steps each time he bites. And then you hit play, and he just goes hop, 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 hop. Yeah. So there's a bunch of different ways to just manipulate things. All of these things, this is just what's in there to start a basic code, but you can change all of that as much as you want. Instead of on start, you can have when the actor's clicked, when Bob is clicked, when you press a certain button. If you drag this one in, you can change it so if you hit an arrow or a letter key or anything, then that works. If you have something in here and you don't want it anymore, you just click on it and drag it back over here. But there's a lot of different events that you can make happen, and then there's different animations. You can make them do different things. There's sounds you can bring in. The physics, so if an actor collides with something else, then you can make that work. Flow is all of the different loops. You can have an if, so if something happens, then something else happens. And then the loops down here that cause something to happen over and over, either forever or for a certain amount of time or until something happens. Looks, so you can change costumes, you can do different things, you can change the background color. So there's all these different options you can use, and when you do the tutorials that they have on the website, they'll let you know a little bit more about that. So I'm not going to explain all of this in too much detail right now. So if you want to know a little bit more, I'm going to go into a bit more detail just to show a few examples of what you can do on your own in tutorial number 3. And other than that, You can just check out all of the tutorials on the website itself, and it gives you all sorts of information on how to do different things to make your own game. So thank you for paying attention, and we'll see you later.